Today we're going to talk about estrogen deficiency. This happens mostly in postmenopausal women, but it could happen in regular women too. I'm Dr. Carrie Lamb, and this is Dr. Michael Lamb. So what does it usually look like when someone has estrogen deficiency?
Well, estrogen is a key female hormone that goes down during the menopausal area. The estrogen is made in three places in the body, primarily in the ovarian system, in the adrenal system, as well as in the adipose tissue. So if you want to figure out whether the person is too much estrogen or too little estrogen, which is what our discussion is, at this time you have to look at the person first of all and make that preliminary discussion. Mm-hmm. So for example, if a person is rather skinny, a small frame, they can easily put their finger around their wrist. That's how you decide whether you're small frame or not. Then and you don't have an overweight, especially women, 5'2" to 5'4", 100 pounds, 95 pounds, 120 pounds, and these people have more propensity to be estrogen deficient because during menopause the estrogen goes down. On the other hand, if you have people who are a little bit more weight, for example, a 5'4" person that's 180 pounds, then the adipose tissue makes more estrogen, so their probability of estrogen deficiency actually is relatively low.
So someone like me has more propensity to be more estrogen deficient because I'm a small framed and thinner, versus someone who has a lot of adipose obesity or mid-stomach fat tends to store a lot of estrogen, and the fat also makes the estrogen, you're saying. Mm-hmm.
And this is not something that it's 100% can be determined by laboratory value. You really have to look at the person because there are certain profiles that the body goes through. A estrogen deficient woman during menopause, which is the discussion here, generally are small, skinny, but in addition to that, they can have a vaginal dryness, they have sagging breasts, and they tend to be systemically more sensitive. For reasons we don't quite understand. So if you look back at their history, they may have a sensitivity to birth control, they may have a PCOS, they may have ovarian cysts or breast cysts, and they have a tendency to have food sensitivities. They don't connect well with any hormone replacement. Their body just seems to be a little bit more finicky, so to say. And so that is a general picture. So you have to get that first. And then that is the key, because if you don't have a good history to figure out what is going on with the body's response through the 50 years, then you can very easily jump to the wrong conclusions, because the symptoms of estrogen deficiency can sometimes be the same as estrogen dominance.
Wow. So it kind of overlaps. It's hard to tell.
It kind of overlaps, and both can have hot flashes. Both can be irritable. So, you have to be very careful now. A few decades ago, when most women tend to be, or most of us, all of us, tend to be more skinny, the propensity is to be more estrogen deficient. And that's why at that time, if you give estrogen replacement through hormones, most people feel better.
They feel better, with the estrogen.
But then they've of course found out that if you give too much hormones in a body that's already hormonally burdened, then you basically push them over the lid, and therefore they develop cancer. So for people with estrogen dominance, you don't want to give them more estrogen, even though sometimes they feel better, and that's a very tricky thing, and everybody's different. So if you're struggling and you don't see what is really going on, there's no good answer for you. You have to look outside the box and look at, there are many natural ways to try to support healthy hormone level in the body and let the body do the work. But generally speaking, the more skinny you are, the more thin you are, you more have to be careful.
So what are some natural, healthy ways that you said people can balance their hormones?
Well, if it is an estrogen deficiency type of picture, herbs such as black cohosh can be helpful. Evening primrose oil does have estrogenic type effect, but they are not estrogens. Of course, if there's vaginal dryness, you can use some estriol cream that your doctor can prescribe, and there are plant-based alternatives that can be used. But again, you have to kind of see the people who really knows what they're doing, and then take a more detailed history before you jump to any conclusions.
Right. So that's estrogen deficiency for you. We're here to help you on your health journey.